Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it. And as I mentioned to some of the panelists, I represent metropolitan Detroit, an area that has been very hard hit economically over the past few decades, but yet has a very powerful national brand. And I would argue the brand goes far beyond its reputation in the manufacturing sector. Once Detroit is perceived as coming back, that means our U.S. economy has come back with much strength in our global economy. One concern I heard throughout your various testimonies is difficulties relating to negotiating intellectual property agreements between business and industry. How can this subcommittee actually make it easier to negotiate those agreements? Let me give you some examples. How can we better clarify who owns the property? Mr. Johnson, Dr. Johnson, you indicated sometimes universities don't want to give up those rights. How can we make it easier to license technologies produced as a result of university research, possibly by reducing some of the costs or some of the bureaucratic hurdles that have been mentioned? Also, Dr. Hickman, you indicated that the time to negotiate these master research agreements sometimes too lengthy. Are there any thoughts on what we can do to reduce those times? I know these are kind of specific questions, but perhaps we can create a better way of negotiating these agreements that could ultimately make it easier to create more jobs. Now, that's my first question, and I do have others. And this is posed to anyone.
Okay. Thank you. I think the IP agreement support is best achieved through a partnership and a collaboration. I don't really easily see a federal government's role in the activity. What I do see is that when researchers at the university and when researchers in industry understand the other's needs, that the agreements can be reached better. Historically, I think industry would come to a university and say, we'll pay for this research, and all we would like is the intellectual property. That's really that's not at the university's best interest, and they don't like that, and they don't want to do that. When in fact, industry really only wanted use rights of that intellectual property, not ownership of the property. And I think reaching agreements and coming to better understanding of what each party needs will yield faster agreements and better agreements in the long run. Maybe there's a role for the federal government, but I don't see it within that process.
If I could add, the National Science Foundation and National Institutes of Health have participated with the University Industry Demonstration Partnership that Mr. Hickman described, and that's an organization that has done a lot to improve the climate for contracting and licensing, and really has developed some new agreement mechanisms and some supports for negotiators and training for people who negotiate agreements, and has done a lot to make that process much easier.
Thank you very much. Mr. Green, you powerfully mentioned that the return on research-ready investment could be 1,000x, which is extraordinary. In your testimony, you indicated that businesses should better incentivize early-stage research partnerships with universities. If you or any of the other panelists have some thoughts on how we can best do that, best incentivize businesses to work at an early stage with universities on research.
Yeah, I think the first thing is getting the success stories known, because there are some great stories out there and very self-interest where universities and businesses teamed up to do extraordinary things. But I think as was mentioned in the opening remarks, our lack of big industrial research capabilities that we used to have, a la Bell Labs and Xerox PARC and so forth, we have to replace that with something. And we have to move from, the science project, if you will, to industrialization of the innovation and invention. And I think that's something that, that could be facilitated through, convening and collaborating, by this panel or others in government as well.
Yes, Dr. Hickman.
Yes, another factor that's very important is just engaging at these universities. So we talked about having our employees engaging at universities on curriculum reviews and on advisory councils. And you start maintaining these relationships, these opportunities come to the forefront. And when the university learns your company and what your needs are, the company learns the university and what their capabilities are. It's that matchmaking process that becomes so important, and that takes some work, but that takes some engagement on behalf of both parties. And those things do come to the forefront when that happens.
Also, just to add to that, and I agree, I don't think it's something the Federal Government can really dictate that engagement. It's something we have to drive. But ways to incentivize some of the smaller programs, the things like NSF Goalies, which bring fundamental research together with industrial partners. Those kind of programs that bring people together like that help create those points of engagement. We're engaging in a lot of places. We have a lot of good resources, but there's a lot of medium-sized companies that, and I was one with Roman Haas, that it's harder to put those resources there. So that kind of incentive to get connected, I think, on programs together can be useful.
My goal representing southeastern Michigan is to encourage industry to partner with our great research universities. We have University of Michigan, Michigan State University, and then right in the heart of the center of Detroit is Wayne State University, and how that type of partnership could create more jobs and economic development, especially for the central part of the city of Detroit, where we have a lot of cheap vacant property that has the infrastructure. We have the roads, we have the sewers right there. We also have very hardworking and creative people who are out of work, who are ready and willing to work. So we have all the assets that we need right there. Many of you mentioned the importance of making permanent and enhancing the R&D tax credit. Do you have other thoughts on how that proposal could be further enhanced to spur job creation in blighted areas or high unemployment areas such as Detroit? But Detroit is really unique. It's gone through tough times, but yet it has all of the assets, and it has that international brand, though, that can be leveraged to create jobs throughout the country.
One program I'd point out, and I think one of the goals of the Advanced Manufacturing Program around these manufacturing innovation institutes and the manufacturing demonstration facilities, I think they provide a means to bring a lot of small and medium enterprises together. They're meant to be sort of pilot shared areas, so maybe they could start to make use of the infrastructure and facilities that are vacant in places like Detroit and start to bring in, and they're also meant to bring a level of training. So it might be a way to retrain employees, towards some of these manufacturing areas. So I think some of the concepts around there might be worth looking at that are ways that could help revitalize some of these areas that have infrastructure and have some resources. How do we take better advantage of it? And that's where maybe I think the Federal Government might be able to help that with steering in that direction.
I might also just add, I think this is a place where our community colleges, which are also the overlooked and underappreciated resource in this country. Jim Jacobs, who leads Macomb Community College, just up there, is one of the best people in the country. The 45,000 people, they used to train them for the auto industry. Now they train them for health care. Now they do other things. I mean, it's profound success. And I think, I've always encouraged our national universities to adopt our community college system. One, as a source of terrific raw talent, underappreciated and overlooked. But secondly, it's the place where small and medium business can collaborate on a micro scale and tackle some of these issues of the community. And I think the important thing, it isn't about degrees, it's about capabilities, and it's about training people for 3 blocks away, not 3,000 miles away. And I think, Detroit has made good progress in that, but that is an important thing we have an obligation to pursue across the country.
Well, thank you so much. Oh, yes, Dr. Johnson.
Just wanted to mention that in the fall, we'll be taking a research team to the University of Michigan to have a 2-day collaboration. I think it happens to also be the days before the university plays the Air Force, so I'm hoping to stay and watch that game. Commenting on the comments that were made to answer your question from the other panel members, I think there is this a wonderful blend of take University of Michigan as an example of a really good research university. So you have business models that aren't closing. People want to do things, and they want to, there are activities that the business model won't close on, and they require subsidies in order to work. Fortunately, there are many technology advances that are enabling the business models to close, mostly through cheaper manufacturing, cheaper products, being able to do things in a more efficient and more affordable way. The research universities play a major role in making that happen. So I can envision a partnership between the research universities, advanced manufacturing that's benefiting from the research university research, making these cheaper materials, because what you're doing really is fighting cheap labor. Right? What you're doing is taking away the cheap labor advantage through advanced manufacturing. And then finally, I completely agree with community colleges. That was a question that we had earlier, that the community colleges aren't just a place to prepare people for four-year colleges. Right? It used to be the community college prepared people to work in skilled labor fields. I think this renaissance in manufacturing, coupled with the research universities and the community colleges as a source of talent, can be a wonderful consortium that could in fact help Detroit.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I'd like to follow up with each one of you and your staffs on these issues. Thank you again.